Winter is the best time to be making changes and ingraining new habits into your golf game to be ready for next season. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you some off-season swing drills, putting drills, some fitness stretches and exercises, and maybe even one extra mental game bonus. So grab your club and let's get to work. This one is the swing plane drill. This is a great drill that you can do at home that works on your club path and your swing plane. So all we're going to really need is 2 alignment sticks. You'll see I got one on the ground pointing in the direction I want to be aiming. The other one I'm going to do, flip it underneath the golf club. You can have it a quarter or half the way down the shaft. And I'm going to put my hands on as normal here. And from there, what we're going to do is we're going to set up, and I want the toe of my club to be about an inch, inch and a half away from the alignment stick on the ground. The goal here and the purpose is that after the takeaway, I want to be tracing the line of this alignment stick, imagining that line continues to that back wall all the way up. And you'll see that swing plane looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is I want to reverse that. Start to try to feel like I'm tracing down that line. Even outside the line on the way down is also great. We're going to get to about shaft parallel here, and now we're going to find that alignment stick is going to go off to the left as I finish off with some body rotation. A really good drill here that you can do slowly at home to help you ingrain the feelings of a nice neutral swing plane. The next one is mirror work. So very simply, using a mirror, using your phone, using your tablet, something that you can see right away and work on the things you want to be working on in the swing. Not taking a video and looking at it after you hit a ball, but watching and moving very slowly, deliberately, trying to overdo some of the feelings, right? This gives me instant feedback. Hey, I want to feel a little shift of pressure. I want to feel more width in the arms. I want more wrist hinge. I want less wrist hinge. Whatever the thing is, now I can see it instantly. It really helps me get the feel of what's actually happening versus that feel versus real in a golf swing where you think you're doing something and then you go and watch it and you can clearly tell that you are not. So next we're going to talk about pressure shifting. I have a pressure shift board made by Downshift. Now we don't need a board to do this exercise, but this just helps me kind of illustrate to you what I'm looking for. So I typically like to go on here, club across the chest, and I got a little bit of pressure on that left side to start this. Now, what we're looking for a good solid pressure shift is I want to be thinking slight shift and gently tip that over. But as I do that, you're going to notice that my whole head and chest aren't moving over there. I got my lower body shifting. My chest is moving slightly. That head might move back a little bit, but you're not going to see a big amount there. I'm going to tip that board over, so I'm shifting and turning. So I like to say shift and turn. Now as I'm doing this, I don't want that pressure to get to the outer part of my trail foot. As I'm shifting, I'm keeping more pressure, more built into the inner part of that foot and leg here. Just because I need and I want something to push off of in the downswing. All right, and if I get that pressure to the outside, then it's going to be really awkward and really difficult to get back. Shift and turn. Opposite now, I'm going to feel a little bit of shift and turn. Shift and turn, shift and turn. Okay? So then once we take this away, we can still do it first with the club across the chest. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. All right. Next, we're going to do some one-handed swings. And these are so valuable, especially in the off season, to help build some rhythm and tempo and sequence. Okay, so far too often, golfers, as they get to the top of the swing, or even before they get to the top of the swing, they're rushing and they're jerking that club down really quickly. Okay, so using one hand, what I want to build with this is a nice rhythm going back, rhythm and kind of tempo, a softness to this transition sequence. you'll notice that there's almost a little bit of a pause there. While your arm is going up, your body's waiting for that to finish and then kind of go together, which is a really good habit to kind of build. Over time, you'll find that the more you do it, you'll kind of build some strength in that forearm and wrist. And I like to use my lead arm more because me as a right-handed golfer, my right arm is the strongest. So if I'm practicing this, all I'm going to be doing is ingraining some more bad habits. So here, soft, and through. And I don't want to just go through the movements and just kind of let everything kind of collapse and kind of making these useless air swings. I want to be pretty firm in there, nice and controlled. And to do that nicely, you'll find that tempo has to be gentle, but then we can kind of sync up the whole body to add some speed in the downswing, okay? This is the path and face putting drill. So what I'm going to be using is my swing plate along with swing plate's putting gate. If you don't have those, you should pick them up. Otherwise, you can utilize some sleeves of golf balls. Essentially, we want something that can support an alignment stick. What I'm looking for is this alignment stick to be over top of the line I want to putt on. So right now, as I put my ball down there, I have that ball split in half from that alignment stick as I look down. And the middle, the line on my putter, that's going to be cut off from that alignment stick too. So I know that I'm set up directly in the middle of my putter to the middle of that golf ball. Then from there, as I start doing some back swings, I'll get a good idea of how my stroke is looking going back. Okay, is it starting to push out? Am I really whipping it inside? Or is it pretty straight? For myself, I like to have more of a straighter arc. I don't want to see too much curve to my putting stroke. So this allows me to start seeing, am I starting to see that putter head moving too far inside? Sometimes that's kind of how I get. So then from there, we have a little gap. I don't want that to be too big. This gap is only going to fit about 1 centimeter on either side of the golf ball. So it's training my face control. So as I'm coming through here, being able to start my putt on line. And if I can start my putts straight on line from 2 or 3 feet, then you're not going to be missing many short putts next season, okay? The next one is the clock drill. So very simply, I want you to grab a small coin. We're going to set that on the ground, and then we're going to place 4 or 5 balls around the coin at about 3, 4, 5 feet. You can kind of build up as you get better at it. But essentially, all we're trying to do is roll these balls over the coin. And because that coin is so small, it really narrows your focus. So the hope is that once we kind of practice this through the winter and kind of see this small object, that once we get out on the course next season, it's like, wow, this hole seems so much larger. And you can play around with the distance you want to roll it past. Say this is a 10-foot putt, try to roll it 10 feet, but starting it over that dime. And if you can start that ball, roll it over that dime consistently, you're definitely going to be making a lot more short putts next season. So here we have the gate drill. This is a great drill to be working on the contact and the centeredness of your contact in your putts. So what I have is 2 balls, and we can use kind of any object we want. Usually we're outside, we'll use tees in the ground, but we're trying to put those balls or those objects as close to the toe and the heel of the putter as possible. Obviously, the tighter we put those, the harder this is going to be. The goal here is to be swinging the putter through here without hitting those toe or heel balls, right? So then that's obviously telling me that I'm going to be making better centeredness contact strikes. And so I'll have my other ball here in the center of my putter face, set up. And again, the tighter I make those, the more difficult this becomes. But that's a really good drill that I can simply do on my carpet at home all winter to help improve my contact, which is huge for start line and speed control. This is the one-handed putting drill, and this is a great drill to be doing at home to help you build some touch and feel into the hands and the putting stroke. It's also very similar to the one-handed swing drill in the full swing in that it helps you smoothen out that stroke and not get too quick and jerky. So very simply, I'm going to be setting up. The other hand I like to kind of just place on my thigh. And then from here, just simply taking some putting strokes, and you're going to notice that you better take that putter head away, start that backswing pretty smooth. Because if you start it off fast, it kind of gets off course, and then your body with only one arm, one hand doesn't really know how to get it back on track, right? So nice and smooth, pushing that putter away, nice and smooth transition here to start the downswing. And then what we can do to kind of make that even a little bit more difficult is the same gate drill that we were doing, placing a couple objects or a couple balls on either side of the ball I'm hitting here. And now I'm going to go and take and do that same thing, but trying to also work on my contact. This is something that obviously you want to build up to, but another level of tempo and feel, but also working on contact as well. Now, we can also do this with either hand, okay? So it's good to kind of train the feel with both hands. They both have a little bit different of a feeling. Training both of them will be great for your overall touch and feel for next season. All right, so now let's get into golf fitness. This is always a fun one because it's those hidden gains that players can really make as they start getting stronger, more powerful, and more flexible. So first thing, let's talk about the lower body. First one I want to do is squats. Okay, and we're just going to go with body weight first. We'll add a little bit of weight, but very simply, feet are going to be a little wider than the shoulders, toes pointed forward. And I want to be going down, and the whole feeling I want to have here is that my bum is going down towards my heels. My pressure is more towards the back of my foot as opposed to in my toes. Okay, I'm going to stay tall with my back, arms come up, and again we can just start with body weight here. Okay, then we can start adding. So this one's just a kettlebell. We can add dumbbell, kettlebell, something to give us a little bit more weight. Okay. So that's the basic squat. Now what we're going to be doing is getting into the jump squat. Okay. So the jump squat is essentially what we're doing in the squat. Now we're jumping. So we're going down into a squat, and we'll start very small to begin, depending on your level. We'll just try to get off the ground a little bit, okay? So we're down into that squat and hop. So as we get better and more used to it, we're gonna start exploding off the ground a little faster, getting a little bit higher, right? This is a great exercise to be gaining some strength, obviously, in the legs, but also that explosiveness that we want to build into the lower body to hammer those drives next season. Next, we're going to get into the single leg lunges. Okay, so from a standing position, I'm going to go out into a lunge and down, push back, lunge out, down, and back. And not only is this great for building strength in the legs, but it's also really good on balance, because you can imagine as I'm going out on one leg, it can get a little bit shaky depending on your ankle mobility, strength through there as well, and core. So that's where I really want to engage that core as I'm going out and down, nice and strong. And then from here, what we're going to find is I want to build some more power as I push back off. Okay. And again, this is just body weight, but we can do the same where we're adding a little bit of weight to it. Down. Really great for building that lower body strength and also the explosiveness again. Now let's get into talking about the core. right? Building strength that helps stabilize the midsection, the spine. I'm very passionate about trying to keep spine health because so many players, including myself, have dealt with back pain. That took me out of competitive golf. So I've always learned and tried to understand how we can strengthen around the area, support the spine, things like that. So here's some exercises to start building that core and midsection. So the first thing I want to do for core are planks. Now these ones are always surprisingly very difficult. So simply what we're going to be doing is down on the forearms, elbows resting, getting up on my toes. And I want to make sure as I'm in this position that I'm not letting my pelvis just drop down, right? That's putting a lot of pressure on my low back. I want to make sure my glutes are still up. My back is trying to be as straight as it can. I don't want to get that butt in the air too much. Trying to see my body being in a straight, neutral position. Now from here, really what we're trying to do is stay as long as we can, obviously. But as you go through this, I want you to start building up the amount of time that you can do. So if you can only do it for 30 seconds, great, do it for 30 seconds. The next time, I want to see if you can do it for 35 seconds, and then 40. Just see how long we can do it for. You're going to start to notice that the body starts to shake, and that's great. That's when we know this core is really engaging to keep us up, right, as opposed to starting to fall down. Keep it up. Next, we have bird dogs. So another great core exercise. We're going to start on all fours here, okay, getting the spine into a neutral position. Now, what I want to do from this position is I want to reach one arm out and one leg out, okay, and back. One arm out, opposite side, and back. But what I really want to make sure that I don't do here is that I start twisting as I'm pushing that leg back. I want to try to make sure these hips, the pelvis is staying nice and neutral, nice and square. Back. And the whole idea is to be nice and controlled. All right, this isn't a rush. And when we're doing it, I want to make sure that I'm not going in too much extension where now I'm starting to get too much curve in my low back because my leg or arm is coming up too high. Just to a nice level position is enough, and back. Next, we're going to do some Russian twists. Now, these are great because while it helps build core strength, it also has a rotational component to it. So I want you to be sitting down. We're going to put the legs out in front, knees up, heels on the ground. From here, I want the back to go in a slight lean back position, arms out. And from this position, all I'm going to be looking to do is get some rotation to both sides. Now, what I want to make sure I don't see is that the whole hips are starting to rotate. I want you to think about the belly button staying forward. You're going to notice that you'll get to an end range here where the body feels like it might start tipping over, and that's where we need to make sure that core is nicely engaged so that I can bring it back to the other side. Okay? Remember to stay tall the whole time. I want that lower body to be nice and still. You can even grab a little bit of weight. I wouldn't go too heavy with this. But this is another great component just to add a little bit more to it. Okay, staying tall, belly button staying forward. Definitely start to feel this one a lot more. Now let's get into stretching and flexibility. Now, I don't think I need to talk about the importance of flexibility, so let's just get into my favorite exercises for some of the most important parts of the body as it comes to the golf swing. So first things first, I want to work on some hip mobility, some hip openers, because as we know, lacking in hip mobility is going to lack in hip rotation, lacking in a bigger backswing turn, lacking in distance. So first things first, I want to do a 90-90. This is where we're going to start with our legs in 90-degree angles. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to go and swap over to the other side. And we're just going to start by doing this first. I'm trying to stay as upright as possible. Now, as we progress, what I want to do here is I want to lean over gently into this side and come up. And as I go to that other side, same thing, and lean over. This just starts to intensify that stretch that you feel through the hip there. But really good one. I always know that I feel so much better after doing these, and I feel ready to play once I do this before a round of golf. So the more you do this through the winter, that's just only going to help you start building a bigger backswing turn and allow you to get more power and speed in the downswing, in the swing in general for next season. Next ones that we're going to work on are the hamstrings. Now, when people have really tight hamstrings, that makes it really difficult to stay in posture, stay down, rotate through the shot. So if they can't do that, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to stand up. And so a big part of that comes from really tight hamstrings. So what I want to do here is grabbing a band or a towel or something that you can wrap around the bottom of the foot and hold on to. And I'm going to lay down. And I want to apply a gentle pull towards me, keeping that leg straight. Feel a little bit of stretch through the back of that leg there, and I can slowly pull towards me a bit more. Now we'll hold that for about 20 seconds. And then from here, I want to go and just tilt it over to the side a bit. Now I feel a little bit more intensity through that stretch. And we can do the same on the other side. Just changes the position of where that stretch is happening, okay? So really focusing on loosening up those hamstrings for next season will definitely allow you to stay in posture better. Next, I want to show a couple of T-spine mobility exercises. T-spine, the upper back, this is where a lot of rotation ends up coming through in our golf swing. So kind of loosening that up, building some mobility will help you have a little bit more fluidness to the swing and rotation in the golf swing next season. So grabbing a pillow or something to place between the knees, sitting nice and tall, arms crossed. All I simply want to do is rotate the upper body as far as I can and back. And really what this is doing is this isolating the T-spine and that rotation while keeping this lower body limited so that it's not helping me rotate. Okay, I'm solely focused on the rotation from that upper body here. Okay. Another really good T-spine mobility exercise are wall rotations. So getting up beside a wall, pretending there's a wall right along my side here. I'm going to have my inner leg kind of touching that wall, my inner arm touching that wall. And what I want to do is I want to open up as far as I can go here, almost to see if I can touch the wall behind me. Okay? And then I would flip it around, have the wall on the other side. So now this arm is touching the wall, and I'm going to go in the other direction. Okay? You'll notice that that lower body stays nice and still, and that's helping me isolate and just work on that T-spine rotation. And here we're going to work on shoulder mobility. Okay, so a lot of times players in their downswing get very steep, and a big reason why is they're very limited in their, especially their trail arm, their external rotation that they can get. They can't quite get it going back. Well, if that arm can't get into this external rotation position, then it's really hard not to be steep in the downswing. Okay, so working on this shoulder rotation mobility is crucial for helping us maintain shallower shafts in the downswing. So one really good exercise for shoulder mobility is grabbing a golf club, and what I'm going to be doing is placing that behind me. So start by holding it, flipping it over and behind my arm here. I'm going to grab the bottom. And really what I'm trying to do here is just gently pull with my left hand here towards the camera in front. And what that's doing is it's bringing my right hand and arm back into this external rotation position, right? So now I'm starting to feel it more through the back of the shoulder, more through the rotator cuff, okay? I want to make sure that I'm not getting in this extended position. Try to keep the chest down as we're doing it. And then from here, what we can do is we can kind of link this golf club just in front of the stomach here like this. Same position where I'm holding it, but I'm just applying some pressure with this arm to push it into my stomach. And now we can go ahead and play around with some golf swing feelings here while keeping that hand, forearm back, that shoulder and external rotation, which will only kind of help you gain more sensation of what it's like to lead with that trail elbow in the downswing, which so many players struggle with. And finally, let's get into some bonus mental game work. So often we watch TV, we see the best players in the world stand behind their ball, they kind of go through some pre-shot routine, whether it's by themselves or with their caddy. Only to see most amateur golfers, you get on the course, you find your distance, grab your club, step up and swing away without kind of any thought. So what I want to do here is kind of show you a pre-shot routine that I've used. You're welcome to use this exactly as it is, modify it, or just use it as a starting point to kind of create your own. But I encourage you to develop something because it'll only help you perform in all situations better, whether it's just a fun round or a fun shot or there's some pressure on the line. So just understand that as I'm talking through this right now, I'm explaining it, so the pre-shot routine is going to be a little long in the beginning. And then I'm going to go over it in real time just so you can see how quickly it can come to life before a shot. So first thing I want to do is I've got my distance and I've got my club. Now from there, I'm going to stand behind this ball. First thing, I want to kind of get external. I want to get out of my mind a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is kind of look up, look into the horizon a little bit, clear my mind, eyes kind of heavy, take a deep breath. Then from there, I want to visualize the shot that I want to hit. Let's just say that the pin's on the right side. I like to hit a fade. So now I'm going to visualize whether it's a red shot tracer line or whether it's just the ball flying through the air. Visualize that shot. Now in my mind, I got to think, okay, what's the technique needed to hit that shot for myself? Okay, so I know for me to play that fade, I usually want to feel a little more body rotation and kind of pulling my hands across the ball a little bit more. Okay, so now my next point is putting that thought of the technique into a feeling. Okay, I want that fade, so I know rotation in the body, pull those hands across the left. Okay, great. Now I'm going to step behind that ball again. I'm going to take a deep breath, clear that mind. I'm going to step up to my ball, and this is really important. I want to hyper focus on that target. And for me, if I'm playing a fade, my target isn't the pin, right? That might just get me to swing over there and push it into the bunker. I'm going to be looking somewhere, wherever I pick my target, center of the green, right? And then try to curve it from there. That's my target. Maybe there's a tree behind the center of the green that I'm looking at. Okay, hyper focus on that target, and then once I'm ready, commit and hit. All right, so let's run through that once in real time so you kind of get an idea that it doesn't take that long to go through those steps. All right, so I got my distance. got my club, know how far it is. I see where that pin's at. Okay, so I want, get my mind clear, deep breath, visualize that fade. Okay, I know that I need some body rotation and hands pulling across it to feel that fade. Maybe do a couple practice swings with that feeling, come behind it, deep breath, step up, hyper focus on that target. Got it. Commit and hit. And the more we do it, faster and more comfortable we get with that process. But I can't encourage you enough to develop something for yourself that you feel comfortable with, that you can repeat, that doesn't take too long, but it'll help set you up for success more often than not when you're out there. Build a solid pre-shot routine. I guarantee it's gonna help you. All right, thanks so much for watching. Put in some time this off season. Let's get you ready for next year. And as always, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications for more videos coming soon. I'll see you next time.